Welcome to partialarc.com. Don't do that.
Do you want to hear a story? I'm not letting go.
Are you ready for this?
Follow your heart.
I'm going in!
This is
Blockbuster Punch-Up! Welcome to Blockbuster Punch-Up. This is episode 8. I'm your host, Jay Jones, and I'm joined by my co-host and film enthusiast, Todd G. Levin.
Oh, what's up?
What's up, Todd? How you doing?
I'm good.
That's great, Todd.
Sorry, I have some coffee.
That's true. Far too much coffee, probably.
No, it's the right amount.
You didn't need to hook that thing up to you. I mean, it's quite literally hooked into your body.
I like the IV because it goes straight in there.
Yeah, I mean, it does.
Right in there.
Right in there. We don't have to say where. Well, this got off weird. Well, anyways, yep. Todd, well, we're here to talk about a recent blockbuster that has smashed the silver screen. Yes. And I don't know why I'm doing that accent. But we're talking about Interstellar.
The
new Christopher Nolan science fiction.
Like Seinfeld fiction.
Seinfeld fiction.
It's a riff on the Seinfeld universe.
It's weird. You thought it was going to be starring
fiction.
Matthew McConaughey, but it's actually Jerry Seinfeld.
Wow, we go through the wormholes!
It's about love and physics. That's what the movie's about. But so not actually that film. Interstellar is in fact a very serious and out there science fiction-y film, and we're gonna punch it up today. All right, well, Todd, please kick off our recap of Interstellar.
You got it, bro. All right, we open on a dying Earth. Climate change has created a desolate planet plagued by dust bowl-like dirt storms.
There's a lot of dust. People are, cleaning stuff with dust. And
Depression-era imagery.
Depression-era imagery,
right? Yeah.
A lot of corn. There's a lot of imagery about corn.
That's right. Matthew McConaughey plays Coop, a retired astronaut farmer, keen on providing a progressive upbringing for his kids, which is awesome. 10 dad points.
Yeah, he gets a lot of points.
Meanwhile, a strange anomaly plagues his daughter's room in the form of a haunted bookshelf.
Yes, very spooky.
Haunted bookshelf!
We didn't know what we were getting when we got in this movie.
It's the books, and they're haunted!
Jerry Seinfeld and haunted bookshelf. It's everything I want out of Christopher Nolan. It's what I expect, really, these days.
Murph calls it her ghost.
And it definitely won't be a pivotal plot point.
No, not at all.
Nope.
Which, never mind why or how, leads father and daughter to coordinates at a remote location, which turns out to be the base for the long-thought defunct NASA headquarters.
It's the ghost of Christopher...
NASA's
past. Aww.
NASA's past. There we get a dizzying amount of exposition about a trip to deep space using a wormhole politely deposited behind Saturn by some benevolent folks in the future as yet unknown. 3 possibly inhabitable planets have been chosen, all conveniently located in the same galactic neighborhood adjacent to a friendly supermassive black hole.
Friendly to plot devices.
It's like, living next to a giant chemical waste factory.
That, occasionally doesn't kill you.
Let's live here. Yeah. The plan is, Coop and the others are to travel to said planets, check out the conditions, and report back to the folks down on Earth to send back for a humongous building that doubles as a rocket ship.
Yeah.
In which NASA has taken up residence.
I felt that part was glazed over a little bit. They didn't talk a little bit about how the building was going to get there. Does it have big building rockets?
The word fuselage was used, and that's pretty much, okay, we get it. As a contingency, the ship Coop and company will be traveling on is equipped with eggs and sperm of the entire human genome to repopulate another planet if Plan A doesn't work out in time. The catch is, the way special relativity works, the journey will take longer on Earth than it will for Coop and the gang to complete the Jungle Boogie back to Earth. The mission is a go. Murph is mad about it. The ghost bookshelf sings a little Lisa Loeb and wants Coop to stay. And then we launch into space, hibernate for 2 years, hop down a wormhole just as thrilling but less terrifying than Willy Wonka's, land on a planet, lose Wes Bentley.
Poor Wes.
Go surfing, meet up with the only interesting astronaut on the mothership, lose about 23 years, all in the span of about 20 minutes. After a quick jaunt over to planet number 2, and a distracting cameo by Matt Damon.
Very distracting.
We lose the only interesting astronaut in an explosion, we lose the evil Matt Damon in another explosion, and we make a thrilling killer G-force dock with the mothership.
Please note a very evil and stupid Matt Damon who didn't know like rule number 1 about docking things and how, space and vacuums work.
He's been gone for a while.
He was really sad about being on that planet.
Everything is fucked.
Yeah.
And there's only one option. Head to planet number 3, or better yet, dive headfirst into a black hole, which, Princess Diaries and Surfer Dude split up to do respectively.
Yeah. What a team, Princess Diaries and Surfer Dude.
In the black hole, Coop finds a 5th-dimensional tesseract of his daughter's bedroom and communicates to her through the gravity of love behind a bookcase of regret, becoming
what was that again?
Her ghost, and closing time loops and providing her with the Deus Ex Machina and the key to the gravitational equation, thus closing the tesseract and saving the human race. Are we still there? Are we still together?
Is everyone still with us?
Coop wakes up behind Saturn, picked up by a big spaceship, and taken to a hospital on an artificial gravity space station colony, where his house is being recreated and restored as a museum, with video screens of talking heads talking about the wild, wild life. Way
now
back
we come
when.
back to that documentary stuff.
That's right. We recognize these as the same documentary from before, and Ellen Burstyn! Turns out to be Murph in the future, who finally reunites with her father after 7 or 8 decades.
And spends
only to tell him to go back into space to save Catwoman, who we forgot is
was still in the movie.
Is still back on Planet 3.
Yep. What a film. What a movie.
So, hope you've seen it, because it just ruined all of it.
Yep, all of it. All right, guys. Well, that is our recap, and that'll be taking us into our punch-up.
Punch up.
Ha, Todd.
I know, I deserve it.
That's how gravity works. I've been trying to tell you for years, you see. I was trying to send you a message, Todd. A message through love and gravity. Through physical violence. I've been trying to do it every episode, and you just don't get it.
You've been trying to punch me in the face.
Yeah.
You've been trying to send a punch through time.
After several punches, Todd, after at least 100, you'll get it. It's all long beats and short beats. Long punches and short punches. And it'll all lead up to some equation. And then we'll meet up 30 years from now. I'll give you, like a high five and a hug, and then I'll go off
on my way.
And go off to save Catwoman, because goddammit, she's out there.
Catwoman needs saving.
She's playing around with a lot of eggs, a lot of sperm. That stuff is slippery. It's gonna get on the floor. There's
Catwoman, no.
There's gonna be hijinks. I mean,
she's got the sperm.
So
yeah,
we got off track. The punch up. So as we always do, we would like to kick off the punch up with what we liked about the film.
Let's give credit where credit is due here. I mean, this movie is phenomenally good looking.
Oh, yeah. Beautiful
The effects
film.
are incredible.
The science is always really cool to look at.
The science is cool to look at. I'm glad that you specified. It's really amazing what he was able to pull off with the...
Such a small budget.
The wormhole. No, with the wormhole, a shoestring budget on it.
Yeah, really tight.
But the shoestring theory budget.
I
lots of science.
Very good.
Yeah, but seriously, there's so much. The wormhole scene, the black hole scene, where we're on the planet and the big waves, the moment getting back and learning that we've lost 23 years, that great look in that guy's face, the only interesting astronaut, I'll call him.
Yep.
Too bad we didn't get to know him.
I feel like there was a Beatles song called The Only Interesting Astronaut.
The only interesting astronaut in New York. There's just so much cool. Oh, and the docking scene, that G-force
all
docking
that
scene.
stuff is just so neat.
The set pieces are so cool. There's a lot of really cool stuff going on in this movie.
And we were saying about the black hole and the wormhole, I like how, especially going into the black hole, I remember in the theater, having these kind of pins and needles of being we're gonna see something that we've never seen. This is almost terrifying but exciting. What is this gonna look like? Obviously it's not real, but what has he imagined? Through obviously a lot of science was done, research was done for this, but it's also what is this envisioning? What are we gonna see?
Yes,
you're so immersed in.
But the thing is that, I mean, besides the fact that the pins and needles may have come from the Hans Zimmer score that's pounding into your brain, which is great in some scenes and not great in others when I'm trying to listen to the soundtrack.
Yeah.
Or when I'm trying to listen to
both, because the blood
dialogue
is just pooling out of your ears.
But actually, that is something you've never seen before, because not only artistically, they furthered. the research.
Yeah. The movie furthered actual research, which is really cool.
Into black holes and wormholes and all this kind of stuff.
Yeah, I heard about that.
As far as the people who worked on it are concerned, scientists, etc., that is what it may look like when you go through something like that.
Which is exciting.
So that's amazing.
Oh, yeah.
And not that you knew that, not that the majority of people knew that watching it, but, you can feel authenticity. You knew that it was like something you never really...
There was something unsettling but exciting about all those scenes where it's
yeah.
just like, oh man, like this is special.
So exactly. Those are just incredible. And also the world building of the planet with like the Dust Bowl and
very cool.
I thought that was awesome. I really liked that a lot. I enjoyed the Depression era imagery and all that kind of stuff. I thought it was very, very interesting to look at.
But of course, there are some things about the film that we didn't 100% agree with.
Right. There's some problems.
And there's probably one big through line of the film.
Yeah, what it comes down to is the plot over the character. Mm-hmm. And specifically when it comes to plot in Christopher Nolan films and recent Christopher Nolan films, the machination of the plot.
Everything is serving the gears of the film.
Yes, but that's the thing with this movie.
That's like kind of the big long line to hang on this film.
Because that's the thing about this movie. Unlike Inception, this one has an emotional through line.
It does.
This relationship with the father and daughter.
Father trying to get back to daughter.
That's a great... And we spent an hour of screen time on Earth before we even leave on the mission, and that's all good and well, but it's not about screen time, it's about what you do with the screen time. Mm-hmm. Because, in my opinion, once we blast off into space, as I said in the recap, things go from like 0 to 160 really fast.
Immediately.
And like it's kind of like, well, you're not, there's a lot of things that happen in a very short period of time, and it's almost as if we're not supposed to care about a lot of that stuff.
And the thing is...
which is problematic.
It seems like...
Because it's cool as shit.
The film itself, like if you look at it from just a structure standpoint, the film originally might have just been... guy goes into space, weird time dilation, black hole comes back and makes the connection. That's how we get there, right? Like that's the structure. And then somebody read it and was like... there's no like love or story or characters. It was like, we'll just tack on this front hour about why we're going into space and like a character. So this is our character we're following. It's like, oh, cool. But then once he gets into the machine, the plot when we blast off into space, once he enters the machine, a lot of that character stuff is kind of, characters are quickly developed or thrown away or
if you will.
jettisoned.
Yeah.
Very nice, Todd. You get a gold ding right there.
I'm getting the science award.
You are getting it for this episode.
The blue ribbon.
So we're in space now, and it's like, forget about those characters.
A lot of it happens way too fast. And again, there is an hour that's left on Earth. A lot of people will say, well, that's not fast because there's a lot of time spent, on Earth that lays that groundwork for that relationship and lays the foundation. Well, to those people, I say that it's not about time. That's like saying you've been together for how many years, for how many months, and you don't love her yet.
Yeah,
or it's not about
must
time.
Be married immediately.
Yeah, it's not about time. It's about
the content.
It's about the content.
Quality.
You could really cut down the amount of information that we learn in the beginning. We need to get to space. We need to kind of like get to, or else this movie's gonna be bloated, which it is. And in order to spend more time in space where the interesting shit is happening, it would be much better if we lost a few of the things that happened at the beginning. Things such as this moment with the drone. A lot of people have a problem with the 3-dimensional pad and all that kind of stuff. I really don't care about that.
Yeah,
it's a 2-dimensional pad and that's not really that important. What's important to me is that there's a good, I don't know however many minutes of a movie that's spent talking about this drone. They follow the drone and it's like, what? At the end, when you think about the end of the movie, where does that drone scene, why is that important?
It doesn't really fit into
There's
the
not
movie.
really a meaning for that besides the fact of what we already know.
Explaining the world a
which
little bit
is,
more.
oh, he's an astronaut and he knows about some of this kind of stuff.
Also, take out what we talked about earlier. We talked about what we liked about the film, of these scenes where like, I'm not seeing this before, and it's like stuff that's unexplained, and it's exciting and interesting and scary at the same time.
Yeah.
And it's because when we're going into the black hole, it isn't like the nitrogen barrier is becoming this, and the inside of the black hole is actually of this barrier. It's left to this...
We're being shown,
but it's also left to this almost like we're entering this dark black void, and because it is unexplained, we have these feelings of fear and excitement because our brain is trying to fill this thing that we can't understand with feelings and emotion and imagination.
Right.
Which the other parts of the film don't allow us to have.
Because people are talking all the time.
Yeah.
And the moments that truly shine in the film are the parts where people shut up.
People shut up and nobody says anything.
And we're allowed to just watch and learn and be like, wow, and feel and all those kinds of things. And the score takes us and emotion takes us.
One of the better parts of the film is where no science is explained, is when I thought, which is really exciting, and call it, your typical kind of action-y scene, but I love when Coop tries to line the ship up with the broken thing when he first, when he gets the lock back into the ship.
He has to dock the ship, and he has to, the ship, the space station is spinning at such a rate.
And he has to lock it back in perfect place, and it was exciting, and it was powerful, and sure, you can hear some things because of the sound, but who cares? It was fun, and it was exciting.
He might have said something like we're going to pull some G's or something like that.
But
if I pass out, then this. All the scenes that shine are the ones where we're just allowed to watch it. And that's the thing. One of my favorite moments of the movie that when I talk to people about this, they just don't remember it at all.
Oh, really?
Is when the only interesting scientist says he's having trouble in space.
Oh, yes. I know exactly what you're talking about.
He's having trouble. He's uncomfortable, and he's maybe having anxiety or something like that.
He says just outside this metal wall.
Yes, that's it.
It's empty blackness and death. If I fall out there, I'll be dead in seconds.
And it's only he said 7 layers.
It's only 7 millimeters. It's not that thin.
Right. Keeping me from out there, from certain death. Matthew McConaughey, says some stuff, but then he gives him some earphones, and he says, "This helps me." He puts them on, and it's a thunderstorm on Earth. And he just sits there for a moment, and it cuts away, I think, a little too soon.
Yeah.
But he sits there for a moment and just revels in this a familiar sound that he had forgotten about because he's been out there for a bit.
And it was a touching scene. It was a scene for these characters to connect.
Yeah, and also, I don't know. It's a scene where I learned what it's like to be in space, what it feels like to be in space.
Right.
I don't know what it feels like to be in space because I've never been there.
That's interesting. What it feels like as compared to what it is factually.
And how do we learn that? By someone saying, "Here, listen to a thunderstorm. Sometimes it calms me because it reminds me of what it's like on Earth." No. We see a man put on earphones, listen to a thunderstorm, and relax. The whole problem with the whole movie is the emotional anchor of Coop wants to get back to Murph. Mm-hmm. And his son, by the way.
We gotta forget about. Not that important. Sorry, Casey Affleck.
More importantly, he wants to get to Murph.
And Casey Affleck, doesn't care if his children are dying. Who cares? We'll forget about that part.
He's old world, right?
Yeah, I guess.
He's old new world.
He's old dust world, Right. Back in old dust world, we let our kids die all the time. Just how we did it.
There's this emotional anchor, but how better to let us feel that emotional anchor than to let moments in space where they're not sure if they're going to make it back, and let those moments breathe.
Yeah. The other characters we have, Anne Hathaway, who is a cold, doesn't like to be as honest, loves a guy who we've never met and will never meet. Okay. Then we've got Wes Bentley, who, forget about Wes Bentley, he's not in the film.
Unfortunately, he's just not in the film.
And then we've got Matthew McConaughey, whose only development after he gets in the spaceship is that he wants to see Murph, which is what we knew when he got in the spaceship. So he doesn't go anywhere either. So once they literally get launched into space, the film is just really serving the puzzle of how we get into space and how do we make McConaughey the ghost dad, and how do we do all this stuff.
Ghost dad.
And oh my god. And how
you see the Cosby movie Ghost Dad?
It was Ghost Dad.
Oh my god.
But we don't have any development. Anne Hathaway, we never
no character development.
Really no character development. Right. There's a lot of story development.
There's lots of story and plot and this and that, but little to no character.
But our lead, Matthew McConaughey, doesn't really learn anything different. He's always got the right answer, no matter what. He never learns that he's could be wrong, which could have been interesting, but he's always kind of right in the film.
Yep.
So he doesn't change, and he does the exact same thing where he just wants to get back to Murph, and he's calm and collected, and he's just Matthew McConaughey through the whole space adventure.
Yeah.
Anne Hathaway, very much the same character through the whole space adventure as well. She first starts off confident, she screws up on one thing, but she still doesn't really change. Matt Damon, who cares? Wes Bentley, who cares? The most interesting astronaut, has a really nice scene, but also I thought a moment they missed with him was when they first come back to the ship.
Which is my other favorite moment.
Being gone for 23 years.
And he has that look on his face.
And he has a crazy look on his face because he hasn't seen people in 23 years. Well, he hasn't been awake for that long, but he recently, like he said, he stopped putting
himself in hypersleep.
Because he figured he might as well be awake, which is very interesting.
Yes.
But they don't hold on that at all. They don't hold on more of the gravity of not seeing a person for 23 years.
Gravity, eh?
They didn't have time, man.
Why? Because
they had to go to
hour on
They had to go
Earth.
to 2 other planets, dude.
Yeah.
They had so many more planets to go to.
Right. And if they had spent a little less time on Earth or a little less time talking about trying to explain everything all the time, like that scene at NASA in the beginning is just ridiculous.
Yeah.
It's like, how much more of it I would love. It's like that scene in the Matrix, in the third Matrix,
where the guy's sitting in the chair
architect
with all the TVs and being like,
it's like that, where it's just an exposition dump, but highly complicated stuff that, regardless of if you know some of this science or if you don't know some of the science, if you just show it, we'll be able to like kind of figure it out, or we won't. But you know what we'll do? We'll think about it afterwards.
And we'll talk to each other, and we'll go online and we'll Google it. We'll watch some Cosmos episodes.
Yeah.
Like, this movie served more of a Cosmos episode and less of a film about the science.
Because, you know, it's not like we don't like puzzle films.
Yeah, we love it.
Right? Look at Memento.
Oh, great puzzle film.
One of Christopher Nolan's own. Mm-hmm. Right? We watched this movie, all of us, collectively, and afterwards we got out and we said, what the fuck happened in that movie? But then we sat there and talked to each other, and we, like, you know, literally traced it back, and we're like, oh, okay, like that's what's happening, and when this goes on, okay, like we get it because we're told about that movie in reverse.
I guess if we summed all of this up, some of our biggest issues, you know, the machinations took over from the plot.
Yeah.
The characters had stunted development, and really there was just too much exposition going on.
Yes.
There wasn't enough to let us feel and have fun with the imagination of space and the creativity that this film is littered with. There's so much creativity and just wealth of imagery to soak in that it was just, you know, raindrops and raindrops of exposition all over this canvas. So, unfortunately, that's just kind of what we got with Interstellar.
No moment better exemplifies this problem of the machination over the development of the plot than the ghost behind the bookshelf.
Yep.
This is why I don't watch trailers.
Because it's going to line up exactly how you know the film's going to go.
They show far too much. So, okay, the problem with this ghost situation, when this movie starts, I don't know about you, but I just knew that it was him.
I was the same way.
The first time...
Any avid film goer, well, like what you were trying to say was, any avid film goer knows that if you mention something more than once,
yeah.
and at least hold on it for longer than more than a second,
it's important.
And something that's like, this is a space science movie, and you threw in Ghost.
Right.
I'm not an idiot. There's going to be something
about ghosts.
Unless, now, there was a part in the beginning where I thought, like, maybe this was them just trying to explain, like, well, explain it, honey. Explain why you think there's a ghost. I thought that was interesting about, like, sciencing a ghost. But then they were like, oh, there's a ghost. Ghost made the gravity thing happen.
Yeah, for me, it's like the first time that they say it, I'm like, it's an old house, it's got character, things creak, books fall. Mm-hmm. She thinks it's a ghost. Adorable. The second time, I'm like, well, talking about this ghost thing, they're really going for this ghost.
It's Matthew McConaughey.
I happen to know this movie is about a guy who
goes through wormholes.
Through space and time, perhaps breaks the fabric of space-time itself. Mm-hmm. Perhaps it's Matthew McConaughey as this ghost.
Matthew McConaughey.
Then, by the time they're like, you know, the coordinates and the gravity
and the thing she said, it said stay.
Yeah, the Morse code and the stay. And when he leaves and a book falls, like, and like he turns around, I'm like, oh,
everybody,
Jesus.
It's like, we all know, right? Like, it's almost like when you turn around the theater, like, we know what's going to happen, right?
We know it's the dad, right? It's the ghost is the. We can just get through that.
We get it, right? We're gonna
Ghost dad is.
Ghost dad is. This is what this movie's about.
Yeah, and that's not for everybody, right? Not everybody, it was heavily handed to them, but inside they knew. And that's the problem.
Yeah.
Because if they did it like once, it would be like, oh my god, it's the dad.
It's the dad.
But because they really like just like rammed it in there.
And even in that scene, by the way, that scene even treats the audience like they didn't remember, like they didn't just see this 2 hours ago, where it actually goes through all of the scenes when the ghost dad is there.
Do you remember this one?
And it's like, do you remember when he knocks it over the first time? And then look, he's actually going to tap out the word stay.
For those of us
that
just
waiting, we're like,
it undercuts. We go to space. About the ghost. Oh, cool. Oh, wow, wormholes. Oh my god, amazing. Oh, a black hole. Okay, cool. What about the ghost though? So it for those of us who knew, it undercuts it. For those of us who didn't, once we get there, like you said, never mind this concept. I love the concept of, you know, we've talked about this, fifth dimensional.
Love it.
This tesseract. This is very interesting. Now, the idea that a future highly advanced version of ourselves would help out humanity by putting a wormhole behind Saturn and then creating a tesseract of a children's room through which you can only communicate through gravity.
By the way, not even leaving like a note. By the way, if you want to communicate with your daughter, please tap on these lines here. We recommend leaving this message.
Whereas it could have been anywhere in space and time because they have ultimate power over space and time.
And it's not like they were supposed to come across this stuff on their own. You literally put the wormhole there. You made it happen, so why not
made the most complicated way to get that information across.
And it's not like we had to earn it. Like, we were already, like, there was, what? Like, you left a Tesseract there to make it happen, so why didn't you just send a message? Again, this is like, well, why didn't they just fly the Eagles to Mordor?
It's more interesting that, exactly.
But it's also if you're going to go that far, if you're that's the problem. If you're going to explain, this is the trap that you get in when you do that much.
This is what my main problem with the movie is, and that's my punch-up right there.
Yeah, so let's go right into the punch-up.
Exactly.
The biggest issue with this film is if you take so much time to explain so much.
The ghost, there's a ghost, there's this, the gravity, the gravity is love, and or the only thing that can transcend space and time is gravity, love. And by the way, this is how time dilation works, etc., etc., etc.
If you do so much detail, you trap yourself in now you have to explain everything. And you can't.
When you have created this box that you must put yourself in now,
you must explain,
of this childhood bedroom in behind the bookshelf, then suddenly you've created this kind of ridiculous concept that traps you in explaining it only in that way, which then creates this like Tesseract of this bookshelf thing, and he's knocking on deals and whatever, and then it becomes like less interesting.
Instead of leaving a message, I'm your dad, I'm trapped in a Tesseract in the fifth dimension.
Help me, I'm behind the bookshelf! It's behind Moby Dick!
He was there for years. He could have left a lot of messages.
So I like the idea of the ghost. They could have done it, and that's my thing, is that they could have done it in like a little less of a concrete way, because they did it in such a concrete way, because they had to, because of the way
the rest of the movie.
Yeah.
So if the big puncher for this film is be light and be subtle. Let our imaginations fill in the factual text.
If you have abstract concepts, don't assert those abstract concepts in a concrete, logical way.
Yeah.
That's not how abstract, things work. Explain them in an abstract way.
A perfect example in known kind of pop culture of where they took something like that and then made it too specific and destroyed it is an example we all know of the Force in Star Wars. It's a great example of saying it's everywhere, it's everything, I'm not going to fucking explain it until...
It's good and evil, it's what we feel in our, the devil and the angel, right?
Great, it's everything, and we get that concept of abstractness, we deal with it constantly.
It's the magic of our everyday lives.
Right, but if we remember a film, episode 1 of Star Wars, they gave it a thing. They called it midichlorians, they made it things in your blood, and everybody was like...
Suddenly it's science.
What science? No.
And suddenly it loses all of its mystique.
And that's where some of this happened in this film.
God.
Basically. It kills that magic. The Force, the Force is no longer this presence everywhere, good or evil, the devil, angel, whatever it is. It's
tangible.
Space
it
bacteria.
becomes tangible, and then suddenly it's like, well, okay, then grab some of it and inject it into you.
So
okay,
when you have a scene in this film where Matthew McConaughey is literally like, love will help me navigate these bookshelves, and you laugh, Todd, and the reason you laugh is because...
I think that line is said.
It is a sign. That line is said, and the reason why that line lands in such a goofy way is because this whole movie is explained in hardcore scientific fact that when you have an abstract line in there, like, love is the way I will navigate these bookshelves, it's not Peter Pan. You just spent 2 hours telling us that love is like a gravitational force and like Fifth Element, and this planet's made of nitrogen, and these waves come in a cycle of blah, 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 blah. Like, then you can have those abstract moments. The core of this film, this father and daughter relationship, exist with all this goddamn clutter, all these goddamn midichlorians everywhere.
Then I'm crying.
Then
get that out of the way, and then I'm like bawling.
Tears.
You got me, because just get out of the way of your own story, of telling your own story, and just I feel like if you take out all of the dialogue in this movie, it might play better.
Probably.
I don't know. I'm serious.
No, I agree.
One thing. There's this moment with the gravity that tells them the coordinates.
Yeah. Yes.
Right. That gets to the spaceship, which is yet another moment that's like, you got to be kidding me, right? Like, we're just supposed to forget that moment happened, and not ask like, well, who is it that's giving them the coordinates?
How did that even happen?
It's the ghost, obviously, the ghost of Chastain's past. Mm-hmm. What if there was a moment in the movie where there was something else that could have led them to the station? Let's see. How about a giant drone? We had a question earlier. What's the point of the drone? Well, there it is. that they took out of the sky, and then they like come and like, you know, there could be a great scene in the house where they ET the house and it's really scary.
Yeah.
But then it turns out to be NASA and they're benevolent and they're like, John? Chris? It's like, whoa, we haven't seen you in years.
Goodness.
And they recognize each other and it's NASA and it's like, oh, Daddy, these are the old like people you used to work with. NASA does exist.
and that's how we can connect it without it being Ghost Dad.
Without it being Ghost Dad. We have a way that they get to NASA because NASA comes to them because the GPS coordinates, they figure out the da-da-da, whatever.
Whatever. We get that.
We get that. And then he's jettisoned on this journey into space and into all this stuff without like this
without being
really
like,
cheesy.
Remember, there's a Ghost Dad. Remember, there is a Ghost Dad.
But the thing is that they're trying to get you to forget that there's a Ghost Dad that gave us the GPS coordinates to a secret military base.
Yeah.
And we're not supposed to think about that and not supposed to question it. Bullshit.
Yes, bullshit indeed.
And, you know, started to rip into all this kind of stuff.
Yeah, and we don't mean to just, like, rip into Interstellar.
But you know why? It's because it's frustrating, because this is the movie that we were all looking forward to the most.
And it's because when things like this are held high on shoulders and championed as, like, this is the top quality of blockbusters, you get action and adventure and space, like
and
this,
love and family
love and Matthew McConaughey, for God's sake.
It's most frustrating because it's one of those big movies that we like really wanted to love, and then we find it's bogged down in all this like shit,
right?
And it gets a little, and that's the thing. It's like we wanted to love this movie so much that it has such great concepts, such great people, such great imagery, everything that you want in a movie, but the bottom dollar is a haunted bookshelf. Love transcends time and space through gravity with Ghost Dad. That's the bottom dollar, and it's just like, eh.
All right.
That's it.
Yep. So that was our punch-up for Interstellar, and that's going to take us into our game, Blockbuster Smash-Up.
Smash, 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 smash,
smash, smash, smash, smash. And the summoning is complete, and we can now do the game. As we do in every game of Blockbuster Smash-Up, one of us will bring the globally accepted good film, the other will bring the globally accepted bad film, and on the count of 3, we will smash them together to make a new, unique, and probably very weird movie for you.
I have the honor of the universally accepted bad film, and boy, do I have a doozy for you.
Oh man, I can't wait. Okay. I feel like mine's going to be a little off too, but all right.
Oof.
So here we go.
All right.
On the count of 3.
Yep.
1, 2, 3. Disney's
Meet
Pinocchio.
The Deedles.
Meet the Deedles?
Do you remember Meet the Deedles?
I feel like I don't, but when you said it like a part of my brain lit on fire.
Did you say Pinocchio?
I said Disney's Pinocchio.
You've chosen one of my favorite Disney movies, if not my favorite Disney movie.
It is a great Disney film.
Oh, man. Whoa.
Really weird. So, Todd, for everyone whose brain didn't just blank out from hearing that...
Well, my brain just blanked out because I tried to melt the two together. But first, Meet the Deedles, if you don't remember, is one of the worst movies of the 90s.
Ooh.
It's the 1998 film where two twin surfer brothers from Hawaii are like sent to Yellowstone National Park because their dad's like mad at him or whatever. And then at Yellowstone, they're supposed to go through some type of like, it's supposed to be like boarding school, but an outdoorsy
Yellowstone boarding school?
I don't know what they were thinking. Okay. But then they like get there and there's no boarding school, and then there's a lot of like parasailing and like surfing on Old Faithful.
So is it just like so is Meet the Deedles basically a bunch of surfer guys bring surfing to Yellowstone National Park?
Kind of. It's just bad.
Yeah.
Just bad. And Pinocchio, of course,
is a wonderful film about a
puppet.
The
horror story of a puppet coming to life and terrorizing a town.
And killing everybody.
Whose nose grows.
That's how the film goes, right?
Exactly.
Disney's first horror film. We loved it. We cherished it. We sang the songs.
Pinocchio is
a great film.
Yeah.
So I've got no legs to bend me.
Strings
to hold me down. No legs. It is a horror film.
Oh boy.
Pinocchio.
It's proto Chucky.
Yeah, basically.
Yeah.
But so we've got Meet the Deedles.
Yes.
Meet the Deedles. God, that name
Is it in there yet? Did you see it?
No, I feel like I have because when you said it, like something in my brain, like, you know, where you black out those terrible parts of your life.
Right.
That was probably it. It just like set fire and just disappeared. So we've got Meet the Deedles and we've got Pinocchio.
Yeah, okay.
So we must smashes them together.
All right.
So a father who is well known for building surfboards.
Yes,
right.
A Hawaiian father. He's like a like a local.
Yeah, and he's
an
big
islander
into carving his own surfboards. Right?
Yes.
So, but he feels like he's getting older, and he can't carve the surfboards as well anymore. But he can carve a wooden boy. He can carve.
All right, you can carve a wooden boy.
This got weird really quick.
And the puppet, this boy, he's like a puppet, and he makes him like surf on like the surfboards, but like just in the shop where there's like the cat and the clocks and all this kind of stuff.
The puppet's like the mascot for his surfboard company.
And when he's asleep, the puppet, what's his name? Is it just Pinocchio or
Didocchio?
Didocchio comes to life, and he wishes, boy, I wish I was a real surfer. And thus we have the plot of our movie, because who comes but the goddess of surfing?
The goddess of surfing rides in on a magical wave.
A magical blue sparkly wave with a cricket. But
she only gets halfway there. She gives him the power of an excellent surfer, but still he's still a wooden puppet man.
Which obviously, if we know anything about water and wood, that's a problem.
Yeah, and this lady she's a cruel surf goddess.
She's a cruel surf mistress. Yeah, a cruel mistress. That's right.
So this puppet wants to go in the oceans and wants to surf, but this new father, the Hawaiian father, knows that this is too dangerous for him. He might die, so he sends Didocchio
to the mainland with the help of his the cruel surf mistress.
Yep.
Has created a conscience for him in the form of a squirrel. Yep. Maybe a marmot. Maybe it's a magical marmot.
Hawaiian marmot. It's on it's on the state flag.
Who she blesses with life and being able to speak in consciousness and everything, which would be terrifying for any marmot.
Very terrifying.
What am I doing? I'm a marmot!
I have conscience now. I can think and feel, and what do I think of myself? And other marmots don't speak like this, but I'm alone in the world.
This marmot, who maybe is called Jiminy Marmot?
Jiminy Marmot. It rolls off the tongue better than Didocchio does.
It's true, yeah. Didocchio and Jiminy Marmot are tasked with going to the mainland, where there's promised to be no water whatsoever, so that he can learn how to surf, right?
Surf safely on land.
Because
if he falls in water once, he's gonna things are gonna go badly for him.
I don't know what, parasailing? Who cares? And once they go to Yellowstone.
Through a series of mishaps and trusting in the forest animals around Yellowstone and teaching him to like surf the grass in the hills of the Yellowstone Park.
Right.
Didocchio becomes the first like dirt surfer,
like land surfer, exactly, like a dune surfer, except it's in Yellowstone, so it's like mountain surfing.
Yes,
he becomes the first mountain surfer, and totally like doesn't need to be a real surfer because he become a real surfer,
a mountain surfer, and invents a whole new sport. And because of this,
then and only then,
Yellowstone becomes a new treasure of this new sport. So they come in and they clean up all the terrible ruckus and destruction that has been done here in Yellowstone.
Does away with the evil carnival of
Yellowstone
of kids, right?
Yes,
with the donkey ears.
With the donkey ears.
Yeah,
there was a part in the story where there were donkey ear boys in Yellowstone. We don't need to talk about it.
There's an evil guy. There's an evil guy who's taking all these boys and making them into like this carnival thing, and
finally Didocchio
really scary, actually.
It is. Didocchio can finally have some peace now that he is the mountain surfer.
The blue surfer fairy comes back and blesses him with skin and legs, and he becomes a real boy, and he can frolic among the others, and Jiminy Marmot and him go happily ever after, riding into the endless summer sunset.
And what is the name of this film?
The name of the film is
Meet Didocchio.
Meet Didocchio. Disney's Meet Didocchio.
Disney's Meet Didocchio.
Or how about, just to round it off with a bunch of D's, Disney's D Didocchio.
D's Didocchio.
Do. Coming this December.
Okay. So this concludes episode 8 of Blockbuster Punch-Up in our Punch-Up of Interstellar.
That's right.
We'll be posting a new episode every other week. Please leave us a review or any comments on iTunes. And if you'd like to download more episodes or check out other similar podcasts like Roll to C's, Because Comics, head over to partialarc.com. That's arc with a C. Of course, you can email us any questions at blockbusterpunchup@gmail.com, or let us know what punch-ups you might have. Other loves for Didocchio and his sequels, many Didocchio
other
sequels.
Theories of gravitational love equations.
We'd love to get all of those. And, of Of course, please follow Todd on Instagram or Twitter.
Please follow me.
Please follow Todd at TG11 or Teaglevin. Guys,
I'm so lonely.
So lonely on Twitter and Instagram. Guys, thanks for listening, and see you on the next episode of Blockbuster Punch-Up.
Die.
Let's go home.